All right, so welcome back. Today we are going to dive into the metaverse in an interesting way. When you think about art, many of the times you think about walking into a gallery, maybe looking at different kind of displays and exhibits, but not necessarily in the metaverse. So we're going to look a little bit deeper and find out how this might apply to not only cryptocurrency, but how the blockchain might be involved, and really dive deep. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Let's get into it today with Roger Haas, who is the founder and CEO of ArtMeta, and then also Alissa, Alekseeva, who is the head of marketing. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for
Hi,
having
thanks for
us.
having us.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna dive into ArtMeta and really understand what you guys are trying to do with the project. Roger, let's start with you. Just give us kind of a 30,000-foot view of what ArtMeta, the project, is trying to do in the whole art space.
Okay, so what ArtMeta is actually doing is, or what we are doing is, we're offering a fully immersive 3D virtual reality version and display solution for contemporary or mainly contemporary artists and galleries to display their shows, and also to directly generate NFTs in this space.
I like that. When you think of creators, and especially when you've seen just the success of many of the NFT projects around creative houses, and also kind of the expansion of what we've seen in traditional art starting to make its way into the metaverse through NFT functionality. Can you talk to me about the kind of team that you guys have to build behind the engine here to create such an environment?
The whole idea is based on Jonathan Delachaux's work. He is a painter from Geneva, and like a couple of years ago, he started to design this 3D life world, but it was actually meant to be like an NFT generator, really, for this artist. And at some point, we thought, why shouldn't we develop this into a full metaverse? So this is how the whole idea really started. And then the whole team behind is, of course, there's a whole tech team and 3D artists who are actually designing and working on this and developing this in collaboration with the artists. So that's from the tech perspective. And then, of course, we have a team of art world, of art scene experts who are in charge of onboarding mainly art galleries and also private collections, because this is what we're aiming at. We're actually offering mainly a display solution for contemporary art galleries. So as opposed to focus on directly giving artists a platform, we strongly believe in art galleries as the agents of artists,
Right.
who have an important role to play and build their careers and build track record for them, and also establish connections to the institutional art world, such as museums. So that we don't want to leave the galleries out. We actually believe strongly in them participating in the whole crypto and NFT space.
I think that's a really a smart move, because if you think about it, I mean, especially in this space where we're going to see just an unbelievable landslide of creativity in the metaverse, and being able to have places like galleries or institutions, different kind of. I'm kind of wondering how this might apply in like the music field. Obviously, we'll see this in other aspects of creative art out there, but within the works side of thing, when you really kind of take a look at where the metaverse could expand to, having that kind of potential, I guess, representation, I think one, gives it a lot more validity, and then two, I think it creates a lot more demand for the space, because you're going to bring in a whole collection or variety of different types of artists and styles. So I think it definitely, for the user base, it really could be very interesting. Aleksa, when you look at trying to create brand partnerships, how is that a big challenge? Do you find people kind of looking at you and saying, I don't even understand the metaverse right now? Or is it more toward, hey, this is something we've been waiting for and we're really glad to kind of see this?
I think it's a little 50-50. Galleries that are onboarding that we've started working with are excited about the opportunity this provides to their artists as a new source of income, as another avenue of being able to show their work, which, is now on a global scale, whereas
Yeah.
before an artist would be, represented by a gallery or by a few galleries, and then the dream would be to be in a museum, or to be featured in Basel or FIAC or Frieze. What we're doing is working with these galleries who show at these prestigious art shows and digitizing their artists' work, and the response has been full of excitement. I think everyone who's getting into this space realizes that it's new, realizes that there is so much potential, and that essentially we're all pioneers, whoever is participating at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor in terms of not only acceptance, from traditional houses, but also kind of the next generation, I think, of people who are art collectors, and then also just the artists themselves really starting to seek galleries out that would be able to do things like that. This is one of those areas that I think we will start to see some real innovation, especially around NFTs and how that could apply to that. Roger, maybe that would be something that you could kind of discuss from an NFT standpoint, both from a gallery side and maybe from a creator side or an artist side. What are going to be some of the things that ArtMeta brings to the table that really kind of creates a unique proposition?
So what we're really offering is this fully immersive display solution where you can like enter a city and like walk around and discover art inside of buildings, outside in places and squares, and where you can actually you find a full city full of life and full of art. So it's kind of an ideal mix between the Venice Biennale and Soho and maybe Art Basel. And so it really allows the visitor to also contemplate, look at art in this fully immersive 3D virtual hyper realistic environment where you can directly also interact with gallerists, artists, and also purchase those artworks.
I wanted to go to
I'd
just
also
some of
like
the. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Sorry, I'd also
Alissa.
like to add to that if I can. I think the other exciting part of this is we're not only offering to digitize existing works of artists, which will ultimately the NFT versions of those digitized works will ultimately serve as receipts or proof of ownership. So we're not only doing that, we're also going to help artists and galleries in terms of strategy for NFT series projects, in terms of avatars. What does that look like? So all of a sudden, artists will be able to create new art in a different way that they haven't thought of before, not only to show what they have, but we're giving them an opportunity to show even more of what they've got.
I was just looking at the teaser that you guys had up to kind of just in general give people a visualization behind what this potentially could be in the future. From a collection standpoint and also from a gallery standpoint, I guess I'm kind of curious to what capacity within the metaverse, within ArtMeta, do you have? So could this be dozens of galleries, hundreds, or thousands? What's kind of the capacity of where you see this going in the future?
Yes, this could basically, the really cool thing about ArtMeta is that also the engine and tools we're building this on allows us really to offer all kind of a great new approach in the n-dimensional space. So you can really think about staging large scale installations that you normally couldn't do or hardly do in the physical space, but also, you you can imagine going into, a gallery could be located in a mushroom, and you could enter that, and there is this n-dimensional space opening up where you could really create kind of an artist's dream and an exhibition in a way that you could never display and stage it in the physical world.
Yeah, I was just visiting your website, and great job on this, by the way. So I love the virtual 3D reality kind of visualization for it. So I guess when you look at what the potential is in terms of opportunity here and beyond, let's go beyond the function of what it's going to look like and feel like in the future, but being able to drive, whether it's revenue or value to the ecosystem within this, how would this essentially evolve for that? Let's say we get the top 100 galleries in the world that would be available in ArtMeta. Would this be something that within a metaverse, would it be something that a general, let's say you plugged into a partnership, would this be something that would be paid for access, or would this be something that would be driving value from the creative and the marketing side for these galleries? Where would be kind of the value proposition there?
So yeah, I'll take this one. There are, I guess it's multifaceted, because we have in our tokenomics and in our token structure the fact that we will use the MART token, which is the ArtMeta token, to charge galleries and auction houses rent for participating in our metaverse. That will potentially be a strategy in the future. Our goal in the beginning is to work with the highest caliber of galleries to onboard them and to help digital artists work. As part of the token utility that we have, there will be a governance aspect included in the metaverse. You will be able to purchase NFTs with our MART token, and you'll be able to gain access to exclusive spaces in the metaverse with the MART token, as well as buy other objects and series as part of being gaining access to the space.
I like it. I like it. Let's go in. I want to get into kind of the roadmap. I was looking at some of the things you guys have done. Q2, the MART token listing is what's planned for both DEXs and centralized exchanges. And then the alpha version of the Art Metaverse set for Q2 to Q4 of this year. What is the likelihood of you guys hitting that on track, or do you feel like you're closer? Kind of where are you in the development state right now?
So, the cool thing about the city really is that you can open neighborhood, or even house by house, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. And so this allows us probably in Q2 to open up the first houses, or even a small neighborhood where you can already visit and see, visit some shows and look, and maybe even purchase some NFTs already.
Roger, will this have land sales opportunities as well? Like a traditional...
No, we do not. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We don't sell land. We would rent spaces and places to galleries.
I like it. I like it. All right, so NFTs, events, that would be a big factor here, and different initiatives. I'm just kind of wondering, are you starting to look at some of the big events like an Art Basel? Our studios are based here in Miami. We get a chance to see that up close and personal all the time, and this year was a very big year because there was so much invasion of the blockchain and NFTs at Art Basel this year. So I think so many people have started to really wrap their head around this. Do you think events would start to really kind of flow into ArtMeta in the future?
Yes, I think
Alissa,
the goal ultimately is to have these events sort of parallel. If if there's an Art Basel event, we want to have a parallel event in our metaverse. Not to say that we won't participate in the physical realm as well. That's to be announced later.
Right.
But we are also participating not only, as you mentioned, the NFT scene has penetrated the art world already, but it's also vice versa. So we're also participating in NFT events, bringing the fine art element to the existing NFT community. So that's another exciting aspect of our project, that we will participate in live events and also create live events for token holders, for NFT holders, and also to generate NFT sales
Yeah.
through live events.
That's something that we've started to see from a utility aspect, especially with NFTs, with events being kind of the end goal, whether it's a virtual space or an in real life event, that especially around something like this, where you have NFTs actually interacting within the event itself. But the opportunity there for utility access is going to become very interesting. Do you think, because I was looking at a couple of things that you had in your 2023 roadmap, and one that kind of raised an interesting flag to me was the idea of rental of objects. So a gallery potentially renting works of art to either other galleries or maybe to other aspects within the metaverse. How far do you guys see that going outside ArtMeta? Do you see any kind of partnerships coming in the future, or is this something that would still be within the ArtMeta universe and metaverse?
Yeah, we could. I mean, we can imagine all types of partnerships, and so as far as the rental of art goes, this could be a very interesting model for the future as well. Also depending on what the possibilities in the distribution will be. So, for instance, you could think of hotels providing access to metaverses, and or even on your home screen. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. So in particular in the rental of art, but this is not mainly what we will focus on. It's really the access and the tools for galleries and artists, and to work as a transaction platform. And also an important aspect to this is also to lower the threshold, for the whole crypto community and for the digital art buyers, because these are people who normally wouldn't go to a Chelsea gallery, for instance.
Yeah, I think the exploration opportunity here is going to be pretty big, and I could just imagine from an event side, this is something that we've started to see a little bit of indicators from some global event, especially visual events such as Art Basel, here in Miami. That is something I think that as we start to see the explosion of kind of just interest, especially from what we're seeing, especially with millennials and even Gen Z to a certain extent, which are becoming art enthusiasts and starting to appreciate kind of the world of art, and the opportunity to see that, I think, in the virtual space is going to get very interesting very quickly. So I think you guys are onto something there. When you get into kind of the overall function of just let's get into the metrics of the token and where you guys are essentially working right now in terms of the release of the project. I was looking at TrustSwap, your launch IDO. This was held on December 18th, so you've got that one live. And then I just noticed this tweet here. Your recent IDO with Polka Starter was a huge success. Of course, Polka Starter we've seen and we've talked about on our show before. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys are rolling out your plan for the tokens to go live.
Cool. So we have Tokenomics available to the public. Anybody can see that. As you mentioned, we did our first IDO with TrustSwap, and that was over-indexed by over 1,000% in terms of the pledges that we received. So we're only looking to raise $750,000, and the pledge amount was $7.8 million. So that really gave us confidence that the community really believes in this project, which was awesome to see. And then our second IDO with Polka Starter, we were looking to raise $500,000, and we did that within 30 minutes. Wow. And for the whitelist, we had over 15,000 applicants, and we only took 1,500 approximately. So another huge success, which is awesome to see. We have a very live community on Discord and Telegram, as well as Twitter, as you saw. So I urge everybody listening here to follow us on all of those channels, because there are a lot more announcements coming in terms of how you can participate. We have another round coming that's TBD in terms of where and when that will be held, but it will be very soon.
Now, I saw this, potentially this round would be maybe in Q2 of this year? That's the goal?
Potentially sooner. And
okay.
the token generating event will be in Q2. Yes.
Okay. All right. So TGE comes up there. Okay, so we'll make sure, because I think you're right. I think community is going to be a big part of how a lot of these projects kind of come to market. One thing that's kind of interesting to me, and when we look in and analyze projects around the crypto sphere, Twitter, to at least to us, has been one of, I would say it's the treasure trove of at least information gathering. And I was talking with a Twitter executive not too long ago that they actually have a team that is built around what they call crypto Twitter. And they've kind of created a whole new initiative set with kind of melding these communities, because there's a lot of communities that are really starting to develop. We've seen it in the gaming sector. Metaverse has been a huge category for crypto Twitter just because of the interest level. So I think that is going to be super important. And I think for Alissa, this is for you. When you're building those communities, because within the crypto space, communities really drive a lot, not only interest in the projects, but also end up driving price action, word of mouth, all the typical things that you get from communities like that. Do you see this as being the potential opportunity for you guys to really expand the ecosystem of what you guys are doing to really kind of draw people into ArtMeta, the metaverse side of things?
Sorry, can you clarify the question?
Just in terms of building community. So, because some people will go to market, I mean, if you look at traditional stocks or what's happening in most investment classes, they don't have the kind of connectivity to communities that we've seen with crypto projects. And I don't know if that's been something that we're seeing more and more depth. Are you guys really focused in on that side of things in terms of building those communities?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, because being, a crypto first company, in terms of we are launching our token, we've done IDOs, we're appealing to the crypto customer and crypto community, but we're also bridging the gap into fine art. So our first participants in our business is the crypto side. So we have to appeal to them and build that community first, which has been our focus. And it's definitely been interesting, because it's all about partnerships and the crypto community.
Right.
The fact that we've teamed up with TrustSwap, with Swappable, with PolkaStarter so far. We've got Matic. All of these things play into the trust level with that community. And the more that we partner with these credible businesses, and the more that they speak about us, the more it's sort of a snowball effect from there, that the community trusts them, then they trust us. And then, it's I mean, the crypto term for this is WAGMI, right? We're all going to make it. Yeah. So that's kind of what we've seen, and that's been our focus in terms of appealing to the crypto side and building trust with them. And then the next phase will be, okay, we're working with the fine art side, and we are educating them into how to come into the crypto community, how to get a wallet. What does that mean? How do you get ETH on your wallet? And then how do you buy an NFT? So ultimately, we want to become a crypto resource for the fine art world and a fine art resource for the crypto world, to bridge those two. To bridge those two and really, become a trusted resource for both of those communities. And the more, information and resources we provide to each side about, both topics, the more the more we're doing our jobs. So,
Yeah.
the more we tell the crypto community, these are the important art fairs to visit this year. We're going to
Exactly.
be here, like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
then
you're kind
same
of
for the,
educating on both sides. You are
exactly.
educating what is an up and rising, art aficionado, and then you're educating, from the flip side, maybe a gallery who has never done a MetaMask wallet, doesn't understand, the context of how NFTs are truly going to work within the space. So you got your work cut out for you here. You're working on both sides.
Yeah,
Sounds fun though.
it's a really fun problem to solve, though. We've really had fun with this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. Roger, let's get into, okay, so last question for you guys. When you look at the growth of this market, many people are looking at the metaverse as potentially the next era of the internet, Web3. And I would have to agree with that. I was born building the internet, working with some of the biggest tech companies out there, and I've seen these kinds of these signs before, and it has a lot of similarities to the really the birth of the internet and what we're seeing now with Web3.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the fact that NFTs have become so critical in the infrastructure of how metaverse will be executed in the future, do you think this could really catapult the art industry overall into this sector in a big way, or do you think it will take us maybe half a decade or a decade? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we're really on the verge of a huge paradigm shift. Also, potentially even in art history, really, because the blockchain not only works as as a new artistic medium, but also offers this like potential of a whole new sales and distribution channel for artists and the art world, really. So I think this can be bigger than anything that happened before in art history in terms of a shift in also what's possible, and it's a total new medium, really, that
Right.
I think the art world only starts to understand what the potential really is.
Yeah, I think a lot of businesses that are kind of transcending what's happening right now and getting their head around, most of it has been, the traditional side of things, retail, trying to figure out a spot in it, big brands. We are seeing a little bit in the music space. And I think we will start to see this in the areas, especially in the creativity side. When you have creators that are out here on the islands such as fine art, because we've talked about this many times on the show, is it starts to open up some very interesting angles on how the future from a technology side, but also from the art and media side of things, how this really could look in a very short period of time, especially the advancements. I was just watching with Zuckerberg talking about what they're doing just in the evolution of VR and what that might look like in the future and how all of that interface may occur. We could start to see some very interesting things in a very short time. So, hey, Roger and Alissa, it's been great having you on the show today. We appreciate you guys stopping in. Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Paul.
Excellent. All right, so you guys are tuned in over on the podcast right now. One of the things you need to do, of course, is make sure and subscribe over here on the YouTube channel. This is where we're going to do a lot of these deep dive interviews. You'll get a chance to see these visuals. We also do a ton of token and project analysis and deep dives. Of course, we have our other show, Metaverse Insider, that really dives into the metaverse from a gaming NFT perspective. Make sure and catch those episodes. And of course, if you want to catch us out on Twitter, you can do so at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.